Hello, I'm Mrs. Jansen. Let's draw a Zentangle giraffe. First, let's start with vocabulary. Contour line is the outline of a form. Pattern is a design that is formed when art elements such as lines, shapes, and colors are repeated. Zentangle was created by two artists, Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts. Lines and simple shapes are repeated to create patterns within a shape. Zentangle artwork was originally created with black ink on white paper. Many people find this type of art relaxing. Zentangle patterns often have more than one step and may have a part that is colored in. At first, the patterns may look challenging to create, but notice that they are made with simple steps that are repeated. So you're going to see several examples of how to create Zentangle patterns, and they all start with simple lines that repeat. So observe carefully and notice how these simple lines change as you look at the woven pattern at the top. So this woven pattern looks complicated to create, but it really is four curved lines that change direction. You need to notice that as you draw that second diagonal row of curved lines, that if you've got vertical curved lines next to it, they have to be more horizontal. And then if you've got horizontal curved lines, those need to be more vertical. And here are more step-by-step patterns for you to use as idea starters. But I know you've got great ideas and you can create your own Zentangle patterns. You do not have to use these. So now it's time for us to draw a giraffe together. And before we do, I'd like you to notice that within the shape of the giraffe, there are other shapes made. So after we draw the giraffe, you're going to add lines to create a shape that you will then add your patterns to. I'd also like you to think about how you plan to complete your art. So it's up to you. You can use pencil and keep your artwork in pencil, or you may choose to trace the pencil lines with black pen or black marker like a Sharpie. And if you are going to use a marker, I want to make sure that you know that you need to leave larger empty spaces in between your lines and around your shapes. You've got to consider how large that marker is. So that's something you need to decide right in the beginning. So please have your piece of paper and pencil ready, and you'll see the screen change so that we can draw together. Please place your paper portrait style, that's vertical or the tall way. And we're going to start toward the bottom left, about 3 finger spaces away from the corner. And the first thing you're going to do is draw a diagonal line. And now you're going to add a curved line like a smile. And this curved line is going to continue and change into a curve like a rainbow. And now add another curve like a rainbow. And continue this curved line to connect. So we're just starting the nose and the mouth of the giraffe. And this is a sketch. This can be changed later. It can be changed and added to. So next thing you'll do is about the center, add a curved line and then a smaller one. And now you'll add a curved line, more like a smile, that goes off the page. That's the bottom of the giraffe's ear. And then let's go to the top of the paper. And just underneath the corner, top right corner, add a curve like a rainbow. And now add a small curved line. And now we're ready to start the horns. You're going to add another curved line that goes to the top of the paper. And then the width of the horns is a little larger than a finger space. And now we're going to add this curved line. And that's the left side of the first horn we drew. And now we're going to add a curved line for the right side of the second horn. And then about the same width, about a finger space away, you can start another curved line for the second horn. So now what you're going to do is compare. Before you draw this line, just look at the line that you drew on the right, and it'll be similar. It does not need to be exactly the same. And notice how after I drew mine, I decided I wanted to change it a little bit. Remember, we're doing a sketch, so the whole time we're drawing, we can make changes. We don't have to erase the whole thing. All right, now I'm going to use a very light horizontal line across the head of the giraffe, and this is just for a guideline that helps me know where to place the ear, and I'm going to add a second one. All right, so now I'm going to add a curved line, more like a rainbow, and a curved line like a smile. And now I can erase this guideline. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to compare the ears. They don't need to be exactly the same, but I'm noticing that this one looks a lot larger than this. So I think instead of ending it, I'm going to have this one go off the page. So I'm going to add to the second ear I drew. So the whole time we're drawing, after we make a line, especially if we're drawing a creature with two ears or two eyes, we always compare, but they don't have to look exactly the same. So let's look under this ear on the right, and we've got that curved line. It looks like a parenthesis. We're going to do the opposite on this side, and this curve is where the eye is going to be drawn. So I'm actually going to do the same thing. As lightly as you can, draw a horizontal guideline, and then let's do that on this. So see, that horizontal line helps me know that my line needs to be a little bit larger. And remember, guidelines are just tools. All right, now underneath, we're going to add a curved line that goes down to the mouth. And looking at this, look, I just noticed something. I'm going to use this guideline and I'm going to add to that curved line. All right, so now look at this. We really have an organic shape, and we've used contour line because we really drew around the form. Let's draw the thickness of the neck. It's a diagonal line and it goes off the paper. And before we start the details on the giraffe, let's add the mane. So the mane stands up vertically. So you can add some vertical lines at the top of the neck. You'll add a lot more to these later, but I'd like you to place those there so you don't forget. And then you can go back. Instead of the tip of your pencil, you might consider using the side to create more texture. All right, so I'm going to erase this line. And now we're going to add the nostrils, a curved line that might remind you of an upside down U that gets closer at the bottom. And then inside a smaller one. And now a curved line like a smile. Let's go inside the ears and we're going to add or connect these lines at the base of the ear, and then you can add a curved line like a rainbow and a smile inside. Now it's time to draw the eyes, and I know I erased that guideline earlier. I really didn't have to, so I'm going to add it again because I'm going to need it. So about 2 finger spaces away, I'm going to add a very light pressure vertical line, and I'm going to add 2 finger spaces away on this side. Right, and now I'm going to just use that as a guideline, so I'll be erasing part of it. I'm going to add a curved line like a rainbow. I'm going to just draw one eye at a time, and here I'm going to add a curved line like a smile. And now I'm going to add what looks like a sideways V that's more stretched out. I'm going to erase the guidelines I have around and inside this eye. And giraffes have eyelids, so I'm going to add a smaller curved line like a rainbow. And it's an upper lid and a lower lid, so I'll add that curved line like a smile. I'm going to go to the outside edge and go over the curved line for the eyelids. And now I'm going to connect these with a curved line like parentheses. And now I'm going to color this part of the eye in. Now I know that the giraffe's eyes are a dark color, but I'm also going to add a small shape where the eye would have a highlight where we'd see light shining in the eye of the giraffe. So we can add this a little differently. And then I also know that giraffes have long eyelashes, and it helps to keep dust and dirt out of their eyes. And we do not have to draw all the eyelashes. All right, so let's go to this side, to the left, and we're going to add that curve like a rainbow and that curve like a smile. And we can erase the guideline. Now let's add that second curve like a rainbow for the upper lid and that curve like a smile for the lower lid. And then we can add that more rounded sideways V, and we can color that in. And I'm going to add that shape for the highlight. And the eye is really a sphere. So when we color it in, we're going to use our pencil in a rounded direction or curved direction like a smile at the bottom and curved like a rainbow at the top. And we're going to do our best to stay out of that highlight. So go ahead, you can shade that in. So remember the direction that you move your pencil because we'd like that form to look more 3D or circular. So always move your pencil in more of a circular direction if you'd like it to look rounded. So we're really creating the look of a sphere by moving our pencil. So as we draw, I'd like you to remember that we all draw differently. That's the beauty of art. So no one's just going to look exactly the same. Take your time, don't rush. And at any time, you can always pause this video. Right? And now we're going to add pencil to the eye on the left. And notice how we start the lines curve like a rainbow and then changing to curve like a smile. And we're thinking about that sphere, that three-dimensional form. And notice how with the eye, we don't have to add white at all. All we have to do is keep our pencil out of that shape that we added for the highlight. Right, and now we need to add the eyelashes on the left. And we can erase those guidelines we used. So we've got the shape of the giraffe drawn, and now we can decide what we'd like to do for the shapes to add those Zentangle patterns. First, notice that the giraffe always looks like it has a bump at the top of its head. So I'm going to add a diagonal line on each side so it appears that that goes up to a point. And now you're going to see me add lines just to divide the shape. So we've got the whole shape of the giraffe, and now we're going to add shapes within it that we can add patterns to. So everyone makes their own choices. And when you see a line that I draw for a shape. You don't have to draw the same one. These are just idea starters. So notice when I start the shapes, notice how I'm looking at a feature. So I started that line at the outside of the horns. Now I started these lines at the ears. And that's what helped me decide how I was going to start that shape. And now I'm going to add another curved line. So I'm thinking about how I'll be making patterns. So this is a shape that'll have a pattern. This is a large shape, so I might change that. I might add another line within it. And I'm thinking I might add a center line. And then that'll allow me to add more patterns on the head of the giraffe. And now I'm going to look at the neck, and I know spots are an organic shape, so they have a unpredictable edge. So I'm just going to add 2 spots to the neck. Or maybe I'll add a smaller one. Right? And you can decide what you'd like to add to your giraffe. So if you'd like to, you don't have to, but if you'd like, you can add the mouth a little bit differently, like it's chewing. So I'm going to extend the mouth a little bit, or add to the mouth that I drew. I'd like it to look like it's chewing on a branch. So I'm going to make the mouth a little bit uneven at the top. And now I'm going to just add leaves to the branch. So I know you've got your own great ideas, and you don't have to add a branch if you don't like a branch in your artwork. It's entirely up to you, and it doesn't have to look exactly like the branch that I'm adding. All right, and I want the stems on the leaves to look like they have a thickness, so I'm going to add another line next to them. And then I'm going to add texture on the leaves. And now I'm going to add some shading inside the nostrils. All right, and now the fun begins. Now you get to use your own ideas and add Zentangle patterns. So let's look at different areas. So for on the ear, for example, you could add a pattern on the top. Notice how that's a closed in shape. You can add a different pattern with inside the ear and then another pattern at the bottom. And it's up to you. You can make the ears completely different, or maybe you decide that you're going to use the same patterns on the ears. Notice that you have two different shapes for the horns, and every single closed shape you can add patterns to. So I hope you've enjoyed drawing a giraffe, and I hope you enjoy using your own creativity to add Zentangle patterns. I look forward to making art with you again soon.